When I was 21 years old, I worked the maintenance and custodial position at the nearby daycare down the block. My job entailed disposing of trash, moving and setting up furniture for special events, performing preventative maintenance, keeping supplies organized, maintaining and cleaning the facility, caring for equipment, and overall, maintaining a safe environment, which included reporting suspicious activity that may lead to child abuse or mistreatment. Some days I'd even be the one both opening and closing the facility. It was a pretty demanding job since it was just me and one older guy who was more or less my boss most of the time. I'd be the one to lock up the place as he would go home earlier. The daycare building is on the grounds of a Catholic school and church, though I'm pretty sure the daycare was open to anybody. Regardless of religion, the older worker, who I'll just refer to as Bob, was leaving early. This one day, it must have been a Friday because he always left early on Fridays. He told me the things I needed to get done before cleaning up. Start with the usual clean up the classrooms, and also pack the rest of the Thanksgiving decorations from the classrooms back into the crates. Bring them down to the basement and then start bringing the Christmas crates upstairs. These crates contain decorations that would be used all over the building, from the lobby to the hallways to the classrooms. The childcare staff would be the ones to do the actual decorating. But it was my job to clean up all of it and bring the crates up and downstairs. Since it was now after Thanksgiving, it was time for Christmas decorations to be brought up. All the kids and staff were gone by this point. It was dark out between 6 and 7. I was the only one left in the building, so I locked all the doors. While I worked, I descended to the basement, which was primarily used for storage because it was cold outside and we had passed the outdoor play season. All of the outdoor toys that were typically in the courtyard play area were there. These included, but weren't limited to, plastic slides and those toy cars that kids would push around with their feet. The basement was made up of a hallway that passed the boiler room and the hot water heaters, and at the end of the hallway was the storage room. This room always had an unsettling atmosphere, primarily due to the lighting. There was no direct overhead lighting, just 2 dim lights in the corners, and then the small light from the hallway. During the day, the basement's numerous tiny windows would allow for some light to get through, but since it was already dark, I would need to use a flashlight. Because I was sluggish and wanted to go home and perhaps start the weekend, I took the Thanksgiving containers down one by one and placed them close to the front of the basement. I was carrying a Christmas container down the stairs and along the hall when I heard a child chuckle. The sound was extremely quiet, but I could tell what it was. I stopped moving the container and began surveying the area. I made sure no children were present in every classroom, indoor play area, art studio, restroom, and any space I could think of. Nevertheless, I occasionally heard that muffled voice, so I neglected to check the basement. I walked back to the basement door and looked down the stairs, waiting. I heard a noise come from down there. The realization that there was a kid down there dawned on me, and so I ran down the stairs yelling, "Who's down there?" thinking one of the kids snuck down there. I got to the bottom and ran the basement hallway to the storage room. I saw one of the toy cars moving for like a second before coming to a halt. It was 100% as if it had just been pushed. I stood in place and looked around the room. I didn't see any kids that could have just pushed that car. I said anyone down here multiple times. It was dead silent. The silence was actually deafening. I started actually looking inside the boxes and containers thinking a kid could be hiding in one of them, but halfway through, I started realizing there was no way a kid could close any of these containers or boxes on top of themselves. At this moment I felt like I was alone, but that I also wasn't. I can't explain it. And then right behind me I heard something plastic drop to the floor. There was no draft whatsoever down in that basement. I didn't even turn to see what it was. I just fled to the upstairs without looking back. I stopped at the top of the stairs again, and when I heard what I could only describe as a child's whisper down there, I slammed the door shut. I didn't know what else to do except call Bob, and in short he said, "If I think there's a kid down there, that I need to call the police." The scary thing is, I didn't think there was a kid down there, but I still called 911. I just couldn't leave without confirming. And I was right, that there were no kids down there, because with the help of a couple police officers, when we looked down there was nothing but a bunch of boxes and containers full of supplies and decorations. I also couldn't find anything on the floor that could have made that plastic sound dropping on the floor, given the fact that there was nowhere else to hide it down there and no one reported. Their kids missing, the cops could do nothing except leave. I could tell the cops felt like I wasted their time. But I was too disturbed to be embarrassed of the police call. I quit right before Christmas, before I ever had to go back down to that basement. I want to make it clear that I don't take any medication or have any medical conditions that could impair my awareness or cause me to have hallucinations. This night was a one-time incident that I can't explain, and I sincerely hope it stays a one-time incident. This happened not too long ago. I live alone in my apartment. I had a long day at work. I work as a construction worker in the city, and I go to the gym 4 to 5 days a week on top of it. So depending on the projects we're working on at work when I get home, I'm ready to collapse on a couch after work in the gym one night. I stopped for food on the way home because there was no way on earth I was about to cook. I was shot. I got home and plopped the chipotle I just bought on the ottoman in my living room, and I just laid out on the couch as I ate. This was later in the week, so I was already tiring out. I demolished the chipotle, and I definitely could have eaten more, but I was honestly so tired that I actually fell asleep on the couch while watching TV. I woke up a few hours later realizing it was like 11:01 at night. I was so comfortable on the couch under the blanket, honestly, that I didn't want to get up. But I realized I left my contacts in, so I went to the bathroom to take them out. And at that point, I went to my bedroom to just go to sleep in my actual bed. Walking to my room, I heard my name called from the living room. All I could think was it was a female's voice. I turned back around and went into the living room. I flicked on the light, but the room was too blurry. I said, "Who was that, Mom?" No answer. I had to go get my glasses for my room if I wanted to see. I made my way my nightstand and grabbed my glasses and then went back out to the living room. I was the only breathing soul in here. My apartment isn't huge. It's just the kitchen and living room, which are one space, then my bedroom and a bathroom. Not many places to look and not many places to hide, but there also shouldn't have been anyone in my apartment. I called my mum just to confirm she wasn't here, and I apparently woke her up with my phone call. So that answered that I chalked it up to a brain fart moment, because clearly no one was in here. And so I went to bed. It wasn't as easy to fall asleep this time, because now all I was thinking about was how I just heard a voice say my name. It was when I was finally seemingly starting to fall asleep that I heard a female voice say my name again from inside the bedroom. I flipped over on my back and looked across the room. All I could see was this big, tall, human-shaped mass a few feet in front of my bed. I could see the long hair of a woman, and I could barely see what I must have imagined to be distorted facial features, and let out a harrowing scream as I fumbled for the light switch or my glasses. I knocked over the lamp as I finally found the switch to turn it on, and now there was nothing at the end of my bed. I put on my glasses and searched every nook and cranny of the room, under the bed, the closets and the dresser. Then I checked the rest of the apartment. I can say matter-of-factly that there was no one but me in this apartment. I felt like I was losing my mind. The only way I managed to go to sleep that night in that apartment was convincing myself I had hallucinated these things. Because of my lack of sleep or overworking myself, when I tell people about this, I downplay it, saying, "Yeah, I hallucinated this one time." I don't go into detail about how real it all was, because then some people get doubtful or think I was on drugs. It was without a doubt the scariest, most surreal moment of my life, hallucination or not.